Welcome to Spilled Ink.
Before we got started here, I was just talking to Brad Adam about the one time that he had me on the Mariners pregame show, and I think that that was probably the most high-profile TV thing that I've ever done. I did get my name mentioned on ESPN one time when a high school kicker in Spokane kicked like a 61-yard field goal. I can't for the
Okay.
life of me think of his name, but that was
And you
probably
were
the
there?
yeah,
Okay.
I was there randomly. I was actually there to watch Brett Rippon
Yeah.
play, and I wasn't even paying attention. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "How that field goal? I can't even believe they're attempting it." And then he makes it, and then all of a sudden, there's like a story, and it landed on Sports Center. So that was probably, but this was definitely the most impressive because I was actually we were having a conversation. It wasn't like just my name. So I say that to say thank you for my 3 minutes of celebrity 20 years ago.
I like you. You remember what we talked about?
I
Or
don't,
what game it
honestly.
was? Or
I
I
can't
can't remember either.
remember because I can't remember if it was because back then I would do cover a few Mariner games, but it was
Right.
mostly just high school sports. So I can't remember if we were talking about the Mariners or prospects. I
Maybe
mean, gosh, we
both.
could have been we could have been talking about Blake Snell back then,
Right.
because he was the
Yeah,
big deal.
Shorewood, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
high school pitcher at the time. So,
And now he's
um,
going game one, World Series. Man.
exactly, exactly. And for anyone that's watching and you don't know, this is Brad Adam was a long time. What was your title there at?
Root Sports.
Yeah, what
It's
was
it's
your
funny you can't say Root Sports anymore, right? It's Brad from just
just
Brad. He's gonna be around, but be back next year, still covering the Mariners, working with MLB next year. So a little different. But title I'd always kind of say host slash reporter, I guess, slash,
Mhm,
I don't know, fill in play by play. Kind of what was fun about Root was that we were able to do a lot of different things,
mhm.
like interview you, which was cool. Do play by play, host a pregame show, be a sideline reporter, um, anchor shows in studio. So it was really a cool place where we did a lot of different sports, a lot of different coverage, and you got to do a lot of different jobs, a lot of aspects of the job instead of just one thing. So
Mhm.
that's yeah. But as the teams and the sports kind of left us and did their own thing and own networks. Some of that opportunity went away, but it was a blast. I mean, 25 years. I mean, to think, Mace, that I mean, you were in the business, and that's like unprecedented. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't usually get that long of a run. So I was very fortunate. I came here in 2000 and saying, because previously it's always 2 to 3 years, right, in
Mhm.
each job. You move around a lot, and I'm like, cool. I'll go to Seattle for like a couple of years, and then I'll bounce somewhere else, and this and that. Here I am, 25 years later, still here. So it's obviously been very good for me.
Was it because it wasn't Root, was it still Fox Sports Northwest
Yes,
then?
yeah. I
Okay.
didn't get Prime, but I
Okay.
got it rebranded the Fox Sports Northwest in June of 2000. That's when
Okay.
I was hired. And we did, regionalize the US. Initially I wanted to either do Denver or like San Francisco area.
Mhm.
But I was in Portland at the time, and Fox said, "Well, the Northwest, you covered Oregon, Oregon State, a little bit of UW, Wazoo, but basically you knew the area, so we're going to stick you there in Seattle."
Mhm.
And here I am, man.
So you landed like in some ways it was like perfect timing, right? You got here just in time for 2001.
First full season,
Okay. Okay. I was an usher at Safeco that season.
safe go. Yep.
Yep. And I worked the terrace level, so I often worked the broadcast booth door. So those hideous green
Yeah.
parkas.
Yeah.
And would always have to be like the most important part of my job was to make sure that no one went in that wasn't supposed to, and that after
Yep.
the game, as Niehaus was like running out, that I would like
To
open the
beat
door.
traffic, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Make sure you were steady on that door.
Big
But
time.
yeah, so yeah, so like and I guess just to start there, like what was the obviously kind of like this year disappointing end, but what do you remember from that season?
That season is so many memories, Mason. Ichiro, his first season. And I remember doing a story on Ichiro when he came over for his introductory press conference. I pulled it a few years ago because I kind of forgot what we were talking about with
Hmm.
Ichiro because he was the first position player from Japan. Nobody knew what he was going to be. And I remembered the stories like, if he can hit, 270 and be a leadoff guy, maybe steal some bases, play good defense, it's going to be great for Seattle. Let's hope he does well. And then, he just blows up like that. So that was fun to kind of see that and just to deal and see the media and the attention this guy got. I mean, he was such a rock star, Elvis over in Japan, and they had
Hmm.
just, I mean, you remember seeing it. I mean, just dozens and dozens of media members there at spring training all season long. I mean, everything he did was, filmed and on tape.
Hmm.
So that was interesting to watch and just kind of being around that team. Boone came back. You still had Edgar. Jay was hurt a lot, but he was around. Buhner was, and Moyer, and just um, it was just a good group. And, being my first year getting to really know the Mariners, and I'm thinking, well, they made the ALCS in 2000. Here we go. A-Rod's gone. They put together this amazing team, amazing season. Go back to the ALCS, and I'm like, man, they win 116 games. It's like this. It's like the best job ever. Like they
Yeah.
win every day. It's like, damn. Mike Cameron was a
Yeah.
center field, and I love Cammy, still do. And it was just so much fun. Like, gosh, we just win everything. That's awesome. I'm like, here we go. And 02 and 03 were good as well. Over 90 wins, but obviously no postseason. But and dealing with Lou was great
Hmm.
because uh, it's just he was just so just one in a million.
Hmm.
Lou, a guy who demanded and commanded respect, but could be really funny too, and just kind of never knew anybody's names. It's kind of funny how he would just never know mine. He called people son because he
Yeah.
had no idea what their name. He'd have a guy pinch hit and be like, "Hey, son, hey, get a bat. We need you to pinch hit."
Oh my God, that's amazing.
No idea what their names were.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of fun, and it really kind of set up, you know, uh, I think fans and for me, and just how good it could be those couple of years, and then lean years. But I think now, Mason, I think we're back to being a consistent winner, which is really really good to see. But being able to travel for the first time, covering a pro team, which was a lot of fun, going to postseason. I know it ended in New York both years, but covering playoff games at old Yankee Stadium,
Hmm.
just super cool. I mean, that was just it was great. And then we finished that season of baseball, and then you roll right into Sonics, and then you roll
Hmm.
right into Pac-12, and I mean we had so much content, games back then before everybody kind of fractured and splintered off. So it was a great move for me. It was like sports heaven. I mean, it was just a lot of good memories for sure.
Hmm. Do you ever like, I remember years ago, I was working in Bakersfield, California. I was covering the Blaze
Yeah.
down there and the very, very strange times, but saw some great some great prospects like Tim Lincecum, pitched in the California League back then. And, for a while I was like, oh yeah, I want to cover baseball.
Hmm.
And then I started to really realize like how much of a grind that is, and how many games. And, I have so much respect for everybody that does it day in and day out. And,
Hmm.
how have you done that straight through that many years with, you got a family and it's a lot of time, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of time. And this year, I think I was counting up. I think this year is the most. I think it was the most games that I've done. I
Hmm.
did every trip, which before I'd always get a trip or two off. Every trip and just about every home game. Outside of national games, which were probably seven or so, I probably got 10 games off, 10, 11 games off total,
Hmm.
which over 6 months, I mean, yeah, that's a grind. And I would just remember feeling it on the road sometimes like, man, I mean, I am wiped out, and I'm certainly not, I'm not doing anything physical like the players, but it is a grind. And I have a better, I guess, a deeper appreciation, for the players who
Hmm.
go through that and then perform on the field like that at such a high level. It's amazing to think how they can. stay that focused and take care of themselves and their bodies and get through 6 months of that grind. I mean, what is it, like 162 games in 180 days? I think that's
Hmm.
kind of what it is basically. Um, it's tough and it's hard to be away from home. Same for the guys too. We travel so much in Seattle more than any other team. And having my girls kind of grow up, I have three girls, and have them kind of grow up with me traveling, with the Mariners. I always try to get them on a trip each year, so they come
Hmm.
out and enjoy a trip each year. They usually pick New York,
Of
uh,
course. Yeah.
fun place to visit, right? Um, or the beach in Anaheim. So those are the two most popular spots for my girls. But I think it's been fun for them to be around the team and the guys and stuff, and to see everybody come back. It's like total full circle. Now, you got Ichiro back still. You got Dan Wilson, your manager, Edgar, the hitting coach. Cammy's an assistant, Junior is part owner. It's just, it's fun to see, the guys that I covered and have
Hmm.
known for 25 years now back in charge. So that helps. And it also helps too that there's some definite downtime in the off season so that light at the end of the tunnel, you're like, I'm going to really grind for 7 months.
Hmm.
But then I know I've got a few months where I just watch my girls play volleyball and soccer and just kind of decompress for a while.
Hmm. Is that nice? Because I know earlier you were talking about how you would go right into Sonics in the past, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is it nice to now, okay, I just have this one thing and then I kind of get to take a break?
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's nice that the break started basically, today or maybe yesterday,
Hmm.
right? Because of the postseason. That was nice. Normally, September 30th, we're done. Um, I did enjoy. We used to do some Big Sky stuff, and you remember us doing some high school Friday night
Hmm.
games and
Hmm.
championship games in the Tacoma Dome for basketball and football. That was kind of fun as well to get just kind of do something different. Kind of like I was mentioning, some play-by-play, just some other sports, just a little bit because I
Hmm.
like all sports. I'm not just a baseball guy.
Yeah.
But um, and then you kind of look up and you're like, dang, man, you know, Valentine's Day, it's coming. Spring training's coming.
Yeah.
Mid-February. It's like, dang, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to certainly not have to travel. When we had at Sonics, I had to do a couple of trips as well. I mean, it's nice just to be here
Hmm.
and be around the fam and stuff. But the football was nice, once a week. I kind of like that schedule,
Hmm.
but yeah, not complaining now about being off for sure.
Hmm. How does is it I mean, I guess in a lot of ways the job doesn't change, right? Even though the umbrella does, but
Mhm.
is it kind of bittersweet that Rude is now transitioning into, to MLB? And, I mean, obviously it's got to be, fortunate that like, hey, I still get to keep doing this, like what?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely bittersweet, and the whole week of the last week of the regular season, and even the postseason is bittersweet. There's no roots, so we didn't do any coverage in the postseason, and this is kind of the reward, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you grind and work all season, really year after year after year. Now you get to this postseason and you get the first round. Now you're ALCS, and it's like we're just not doing anything, which was kind of a letdown. And that last week was so hard with us learning, the day before they clinched the playoff berth, learning that, we were not going to be around effective, as soon as the regular season ended, pretty much.
Hmm.
Um, and that was difficult because nobody knew what next year held for us individually. And then, things worked out for some, but for the majority, I'd say, 90% of Root is gone.
Hmm.
And these are people that I've worked with for some for 25 years, some for 20. It's a place where people really enjoyed being and
Hmm.
stayed. So everybody's been there over 10 years at
Yeah.
least. And
Hmm.
so now to see these people saying, like, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. There's not, in the media business, in the TV, there's not a lot of opportunities like within the city. Like if
Hmm.
you're a cameraman, it's like, well, you got the Mariners and you got the Kraken
Hmm.
and maybe Seahawks, but those are hard jobs to get into. It's not like you can just say, all right, I'm leave this job. I'm gonna go get across the street and get a job
Yeah.
tomorrow. So same with directors, editors, audio, TDs. It's not as easy as maybe some other industries. So um, to see that and feel for them, that's been difficult. And just having us all together for so long now, knowing that we're not going to be together, it was difficult for sure. It was, yeah. And then they clinch and you're happy for the team and you're like, want to be excited about the postseason, but then it's like, oh man, this is happening at the same time. So that
Hmm.
was a hard week for sure for us, and it's still hard. Like, we haven't cleaned out our desks yet. The building's still there.
Hmm.
The Kraken's using it, so our
Okay.
studios are still up for them. But eventually, we got to go in and just I've got 25 years of junk in there. I can't. I think I have some old suits in there. I
Oh,
think
sure.
some
Yeah. Right.
ties, old shoes that I would leave in there in case I needed them. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty emotional too. Just taking down pictures and mementos from you know stuff we've covered and press passes from Sonics and 2001 stuff. I've got all my scorebooks from every Mariner year I've got. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be it's the transition. We haven't fully done it, so it's still gonna be tough emotionally for
Hmm.
us.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that would be like with that sort of over the course of 25 years. Well, I remember doing the Dragons like for that
Oh yeah,
20, so that was, and then COVID hits, and then that was about as unceremonious an end as I could remember, right? Like they get the
right.
entire league on the phone and basically like, okay, guys, you don't have a job anymore. Best of luck. Bye. It was like and everyone, and then actually legitimately someone on the call because it was like that person logged off, and then someone's like, it's dead silent, and someone's like, wait, that's it? Like, and
Did we get
so
a check? Is it something gonna happen? But right,
yeah,
that's it, right?
yeah,
They just fold, and you're like, sorry, yeah,
yeah,
see you.
yeah.
Good
It's like
luck.
whatever is in your whatever just got wired into your bank account is that's it. There's nothing else. Best of
Yeah.
luck. So,
Harsh reality. And everybody in this business, which is difficult, it's tough. Everybody goes through that, right? I mean, very few of us, you know, go out on our own terms or just stay someplace forever. So there's that call is kind of coming, and I've been lucky enough it hasn't come till now. But you're right, everybody kind of goes through that. You got
mhm,
to kind of reassess and see what you want to do. And so I mean, I'm fortunate, like I said, to still be able to come back, and Angie's back. Everybody's back, broadcasters. So well, that's certainly good news. And hopefully the shows will look the same. We haven't figured out exactly what Mariners want, but it should be similar to what we saw this year in terms about
mhm.
pre and post and stuff.
I still get very nostalgic when I hear the old school jingle of the because I don't think Root didn't
Mhm.
always do it, right? The
No,
Yeah,
it was Channel 11, right, over the air. They had a
yeah,
bunch of games too. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
so like I remember actually one year, I can't it was the strike shortened year. And so the Mariner, right when the
90,
Mariners started.
94.
Yeah, and they had
Yeah.
just started playing well, and I had
Hmm.
mono. So like the only
Oh.
thing I had to look forward to every day was the
What's a
Mariners,
Mariner game?
and they're surging, and then all of a sudden the strike happens, and like it was taken away from me.
Right.
And then I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? But I'll just never forget that, dun, 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 like that.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
every time I hear that, I think of like that 94, 95,
Yeah.
those seasons, and being at the ballpark for Edgar's double, and
Oh, were you there?
I was there.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
see, I came in 2000, so I missed the Kingdom. I never set foot inside the Kingdom.
It's interesting. Like people hate that place. Like I don't hear many people being like, "Oh, this was great," but
Right.
I thought it was amazing. Like, I was like,
As a
I
kid,
loved it.
right?
I was like, "Oh my God, like this is where the Seahawks and the Mariners play."
Yeah.
And
The
um,
hitters loved it. I'll
yeah,
tell you that. They
well,
loved
and
it.
and it was, I just like it was like this massive concrete thing, and I had lived in Germany for 4 years as a kid, so it was just like this. It was a symbol of Seattle that like
Right.
I loved, um, And I got to see some cool thing. I'll never forget. The Mariners were so terrible back then, like before, like going into 95 that
Hmm.
no one was sitting behind home plate, right? So I used to get like very good
Seriously.
seats,
Yeah.
my dad would get us tickets and we'd go sit,
Right.
right
Walk
behind home
down.
plate.
Yep.
And one game, George Carl was sitting there, like a couple rows in front. And then behind us were, I think the Mavericks were in town to play the Sonics. So Sean Bradley and Ed O'Bannon were sitting right behind. And I was just like, and they were like those mini pizza boxes, like this many, and they were
Yeah.
just crushing them. And
Challenge.
I was like, where am I? Like, how did
I
I
was
get
just,
here?
I'm glad you weren't sitting behind Sean Bradley.
Oh, well,
You would
that's
have never seen anything, right?
exactly. Well, the good news is there were plenty of good seats
Play
available.
seats. Spread out a little bit, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
do you have like, is there like one memory from all these 25 years? Do you have like a favorite moment or are there like too many to count?
Um, yeah, there's probably a couple. I mean, from that '01 season, seeing Ichiro do his thing, um, and just when they won the West after 9/11, that was pretty special. When they had the carrying the flag, McLemore and Cameron carrying the flag around, then Safeco Field,
Hmm.
clinching the West. I mean, that was pretty emotional. That was pretty awesome to be a part of and see that. The postseasons are always really fun. Ichiro's hit record, 4, which I can't imagine that would ever be broken.
Hmm.
Felix's perfect game. Um, yeah, it was just yeah. And then when they uh, broke the what was it 21-year playoff drought when Cal hits the home run the ninth inning against the A's, that was
Hmm.
pretty special too. And just recently, I mean, Gino's grand slam. I mean, I was at the game. I wasn't working it, but I was
Yeah.
at the game, and just to be a part of that as a fan, like, oh my gosh, right? Because
Hmm.
we in the business don't get to do that very often,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
We're all in the press box working and getting ready for the show. We're like, oh, now we got to run down because they're going to win, blah blah blah. But just to be able to be like, wow, and just enjoy that and hear that. So yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting others as well, um, but those moments are kind of stand. I think for a lot of fans too, and that's kind of what we are, right? I mean, we're allowed to be a little bit of homers since the team owned us and we covered the team, so that was, we didn't have to be too impartial.
Hmm.
So that was kind of fun just to enjoy the success that I've seen over the years and these big moments, as a fan with the fans, and kind of you know just be a part of that. It's been a lot of fun.
Hmm. Do you, and we haven't even touched on sort of the way the season ended. Do
Mm.
you, and you kind of alluded to it earlier though, like, do you feel good about what's coming next or?
I do.
Mhm.
I do. I'm hopeful of what's
Mhm.
coming next. I think the ownership and front office saw what a difference a trading deadline can make when you go out and improve your team. Like getting Naylor and getting Gino back at third was huge, you
Mhm.
know, and it really made the team obviously a lot better, the lineup a lot better, the clubhouse better, and it got them deep into the postseason. So, having said that, though, you looked at those 7 games and it kind of played out probably correctly. I mean, Toronto was a little bit better, you
Mhm.
know, and people forget Bo Bichette, their second best hitter, hasn't played at all in the
Yeah.
postseason. I mean, that'd be like losing Julio for the entire postseason. That's hard to
Mhm.
do for them to get to the World Series without him. It's hard to do. Their lineup 1 through 9 was more productive and just better than the
Mhm.
Mariners. So the Mariners can't afford to lose both Naylor and Gino, right? And Polanco. Those are the big 3 free agents. They've
Yeah.
got to get at least 2 of them back and figure out something else if one doesn't come back. They got to figure out second. They got to figure out right field. They probably need another arm in the bullpen. They knew that at the trading deadline. And they weren't able to get that big arm. But this is like a time, right, where you've got all these pitchers under control for years. You got Cal locked up. You got Julio locked up. This is the time where you know, we saw at the trade deadline, add, go for this is the time, right? You've got these
Mhm.
five starters, young, pretty cheap. This is the time to be aggressive in the off season. And they normally aren't. They're much more aggressive at the trade deadline than the off season. So
Mhm.
I'm excited about this off season. I think they got a taste of, just how good they can be, how close they are. Um, I mean, 8 outs away, right? For the
Yeah.
first World Series. So you'd like to think that they're like, hey, we're going all in for the next couple of years. Let's just keep this rolling. The foundation's there, the farm system's good. You got pieces to trade. I think it's a good time right now. And I think that they saw the fans and how they came out and supported and how they love postseason baseball
Mhm.
and what that place is like at T-Mobile is fantastic. So I think big things. I'm hoping, for
Mhm.
these next couple of seasons. Yeah.
So that brings me to kind of my last thing that I wanted to ask you about, and you would have so much more insight than I do because I've been to games and I haven't been in the clubhouse. Um, One thing I noticed just watching it on TV, and it seemed clear to me in both series, both with Detroit and with Toronto, was both of the opposing teams seemed the vibe in the dugout seemed different. Like they were light, right? Like they seemed like they were more playful. And it was surprising to me a little bit because of, you got Gino and his good vibes and Julio and, Cal seems to be very like business minded. But
Yes.
do
Yes.
you think that because now that they've gotten to it that close to a World
Mhm.
Series, that maybe, and because some of these other teams have maybe a little more, I don't necessarily like postseason experience, but that they will be a little more like, were they not as relaxed? Was I seeing that wrong? Like, what do you think?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think there's probably something to that. I mean, that's the farthest that anybody in a Mariner uniform has ever been, right? To a game
Hmm.
seven of the ALCS. Previous, farthest or furthest was game six. So, uncharted territory. A lot of those guys in the postseason for the first time, Leo Rivas never thought he'd be starting, second baseman in the ALCS,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Dom Canzone playing right field. Like, really?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think a lot of guys were experiencing that for the first time. And a lot of the coaches were experiencing that for the first time. Dan Wilson's first playoff run as a manager. It's different, right? He's learning things and he's learning that every decision you make in the postseason, you get second guessed, right? It's so
Hmm.
magnified, and it's such a different game than the other 162 in the regular season. Managers just, I think they overthink things. I know you have to win every game; it's super important. I get that, but they just change like everything. It's
Hmm.
just it's a different game in the postseason. I think Dan's learning that. I think the players are trying to figure things out too. And there's a pressure of, being the only team that's never made it to the World Series. And that
Yeah.
weighs on everybody. Everybody knows that. All the players think it every day, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think there's probably something to that now that they've got this experience. I mean, these were what, 12 games that they got postseason.
Hmm.
Um, and they realized that, hey, you know what? We're as good as anybody else in the league. You know, they just fell a few outs short in Game 7, so I think that will certainly help. And the same with the pitchers as well. Guys like even Kirby, guys who are just super chill, woo. It's like they're like, man, postseason's different.
Yeah.
The adrenaline is running. Like I needed to figure out the first inning because of the adrenaline's going. You're throwing even harder than you've ever thrown before. It's like, whoa, I got to figure this out. So I think all these are positive steps. And again, get guys in, add to the team and the experience that they got. I just think that again, a really good spot for these guys. And I think, next year they'll be like, all right, so we experienced this now. Now we got this. Let's go World Series. I'm
Awesome. Yeah.
calling it, Mace. How about that?
Hey,
World
you heard
Series?
it here first. Mark it
Yeah,
down. Brad Adams, World
exactly.
Series.
Yeah. Shocker. He's optimistic.
Exactly, right? Hey, well that you know what? That's one thing I always appreciate. Like throughout a long season, the one thing I can count on from a Mariner broadcast is that, Brad Adams is going to be optimistic. And so I think
Exactly.
we all need that sometimes.
It's going to be feeling good. I tell you, there were
Exactly.
some years though, Mace, when they were when they were really struggling, losing 100 games. I mean, the only thing we could talk about really was Felix.
Yeah.
And so I remember like he would pitch, let's say he pitched Tuesday, right? And then Wednesday's show, we're like, hey, 4 days until Felix pitches.
Yeah.
Let's break it down a little bit of Felix. Listen,
Exactly.
forget the next 4 games. Let's just focus on Felix.
Yeah.
So now, now we've come a long way.
Hmm.
It's fun to cover these guys. And now, yeah, we moved beyond the 100 loss. What were the first team, right, for a $100 million payroll to lose 100 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard to stay positive, but we tried.
Yeah.
Felix helped a little bit, right?
I remember, and then there was the Griffey coming back years. Like I was in the clubhouse a little bit
Oh,
then, and
9 and 10, that was awesome.
yeah, and that was
Yep.
great. That was great until he drove off into the sunset, and then
That was
those years.
another bizarre ending, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that it was 10, right? Or 10 or 11 when he left, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing the game, and I can't, it must have been the next day. So he just drives. He drives, he's crazy. Like he doesn't need much sleep at all. He drove
Mm.
to Orlando. It was like 43 hours driving to Orlando. And we got a call from somebody, a lady in Montana, who said, hey, I'm getting gas. And I think Ken Griffey Jr. is pumping gas next to me. And we're like, no, I don't think that's right. But sure enough, it was Junior as he's driving across country. And then the next day, it had to be the next day. I guess Wakamatsu was the manager, and they kind of whispered in his ear, Junior's retired. He's like what? Like what? And then he had to talk to the media about Junior, knowing nothing about the situation. So that was an odd one, man. Wow, that was weird. And then getting him back has been a lot of fun. Now, as one of the owners, just to have him around is pretty special.
Mhm.
He's such a fun guy, and sometimes he'll just talk and just like have stories and tell you this, and it's funny because like as there's deadlines, right? And the
Mhm.
show's coming up, I gotta go, and he's like, hey, blah blah blah, and he's telling stories this, and I'm like, man, I gotta go. And it's funny to think myself like I'm leaving juniors, I'm leaving the conversation so I go do something. Like who has that problem, right? He can't
Exactly.
get Junior to be quiet. Like, dude,
Exactly.
I got you. I gotta go. Stop.
Yeah. I mean, I've had very
Funny.
limited interactions with Junior. My dog, actually, very elderly dog over there. His name is Griffey. So,
Griffey.
yeah, but it was like one of the high points in my life to meet him and have him give me a hard time, given his relationship with my family. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
complicated to say the least. So,
Yeah. I hope
anyway.
he spared you a little bit.
He did. He
Okay,
did.
good.
Yeah, no,
Good.
every time I was in the clubhouse, he'd just look at me and like, I can't believe that you're who you are. And I was like,
Exactly.
that's not exactly like how I want you to see me. Like I am my own,
Exactly.
human
But don't
being.
come talk to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, kind of like I'm just gonna give you a hard time
Oh,
just
he's
because I
good at
can.
that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
very good
exactly.
at that for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah.
So, well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time and
Heck yeah.
joining today. It was great to catch up. Like I said, this is always mostly just an opportunity for me to catch up with people that I like talking to. So,
I like
um,
that. And
glad.
put on video and let it be available for people to listen and watch.
Exactly,
I love it.
exactly.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, well, best of luck and everything. Glad you're still going to be around and bringing that optimism all summer long.
Exactly. It's going to be a great year next year. Remember, World Series next
Exactly.
year.
Yeah. Brad Adams,
Hey,
right here.
it's the
Said it
fifth,
first.
yeah, the 50th season. I mean, how perfect is that,
Exactly.
right?
It
50th
almost like
season,
they can't
World Series.
not. They can't not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be their slogan. Can't not. Love it.
All
Nice.
right.
Appreciate it. We'll do it
Yeah.
again next year. We'll give updates, right? See
Absolutely.
how they're doing. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool, man.
All
Appreciate
right.
you.
Yeah, appreciate it.